If you live in northeastern Ohio, 90-degree weather and Blossom Music Center means music for the masses, which also happens to be the title of the latest release from Depeche Mode on Sire Records. With me is Alan Wilder. How you doing?
Hi.
Good. Being an alternative music show, we are painfully aware of the plight of bands getting signed. What led up to your getting signed?
In America or in England?
Well, initially in England.
Initially, well, actually, I wasn't in the band at the time, but it was just a lot of luck, probably, you know. The band was sort of doing the usual thing, playing around locally, and they lived just outside London, and then they were playing in a few places in London. And they met Daniel Miller, who is the founder of Mute Records, and at the time he was mixing sound for the other group that were playing the same night, and he saw Depeche Mode and liked the music, and it sort of went from there, and they did a deal to make one record which was marginally successful, and it enabled them to carry on and make another one, and it's kind of grown since then. There's a lot of luck involved as well, of course, but yeah.
You're in the middle of a monster tour right now, I understand, that's ending up at the Rose Bowl.
That's right.
In California, and there's a film involved?
That's right.
Tell me about that.
The film is being directed by D.A. Pennebaker, who was responsible for the Monterey Pop Festival film and Don't Look Back, the documentary with Bob Dylan. So he's got a bit of a reputation behind him, but he hasn't really been involved in a lot of music films more recently. I don't think he's done anything too seriously for the last 10 years, really, although he has been making films, but not in this area. And we just sort of got hold of him and asked if he was interested, and he came along and we met, and he was interested, and so he's going ahead and making this film, which is it's a combination of live and other things, really, although we hope not to put out a kind of standard rock documentary type film. There will obviously be some documentary type footage in it, but we're hoping to sort of, rather than dealing with all the trucks coming into the gear and the usual stuff you get in the rock documentary, we're trying to avoid that and do something a bit different, which is a bit more related to people's opinions about the 80s and how it relates to our music and that kind of thing, you know. So it's still a bit loose because it's still in the early stages, but we're hoping to get very much involved in the editing of the thing and to work quite closely with Pennebaker and just try and get something good out of it, you know. I'm sure he's going to, I mean, he's very intelligent and bright, and he's a very good filmmaker, so I'm sure he's going to do something good whatever.
Correct. Your music is frequently described as a sound that has defined the 80s, more or less, and OMD that you're touring with is the same kind of, you know, the synth pop sound. Do you see any departure from that in the future, or as you move into the 90s, what's coming up?
Not really. I think we've never tried to put ourselves into that kind of bracket, although other people obviously will do that for you, but we just place importance on writing good, strong songs, you know, and our approach to making the songs may well change, yeah. But I think we'll still be dealing with, well, we'll still be trying to force ahead with new ways of working, you know. That's something we've always prided ourselves on doing, really, exploring the technology, trying to work in new ways with every record that we make, you know. And obviously we've kind of developed a sort of style out of that, which I imagine will continue in a similar vein. So I don't really know what we're going to do. I mean, it's nice not knowing what you're going to do.
Mm-hmm.
I think we have reached a point where we feel we need to make a bit of a change or just try a new approach, you know.
Keep yourselves interested.
Yeah, I think you have to, you know, and I think we've explored a certain way of working up to about as far as we can go, and we need a different way of working, maybe. There is a possibility that we could go on for a long time. Whether we will or not is another matter. I have no idea, you know. We don't look far that ahead. I don't like to look that far ahead, really.
About production, you were talking about exploring new areas of technology with each album. How much are you allowed to be involved in the production, or how much do you choose to be involved?
Oh, we are totally involved. We produce ourselves primarily. We usually work with other people, but we're very much involved in the production. I think we'd have to be, otherwise we couldn't do it, you know. That's just, I mean, it all stems from the early days when we were allowed to progress in our own kind of fashion, you know. That was one of the major advantages with being with an independent record company and working with Dan Miller. He never forced us into doing anything we didn't want to do, and most bands, when they sign with companies, usually immediately have to have management. You know, they have to use certain video directors, they have to do this and get a producer in. We never had any of that pressure, and we made mistakes through that kind of naivety of wanting to do everything ourselves, and we did make mistakes in the early days, but at least we've been allowed to progress at our own pace and work out where we've maybe gone wrong, and I think there's been a large factor as to why we're still going now. You know, I don't think we would have lasted had we still manage ourselves. We have total control over the production of the records and what records are going to be released. We have control over who makes the videos. We have control over our photographs. We have control over everything, you know. And whilst we may suffer in some areas, I think it's much more advantageous and much more reason to why we're maybe quite a unique sounding group, you know.
Well, I'll let you go.
All right.
Thanks for talking to me.
Thank you.
Have a great show. Enjoy the weather. I'm Lisa Hart. This is Alan Wilder of Depeche Mode. I'll see you next time.